Hello everyone, Don here again with the latest update on my Corsair testing phase. So as you can see, I got my tailwheel assembly back out of the plane. Here's the steerable tailwheel mechanism I made for it. So what I'm doing now is I did get out to the airport yesterday, Sunday, to test out the tailwheel again, since I installed heavier springs on this assembly. And the last time I tried to go out, it was 90-degree crosswinds gusting 25 plus. So I ended up going out, last weekend I didn't make it out, or last weekend I didn't make it out there at all because it was just windy all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, overcast, and then the days did clear up, but it was just too breezy, too windy for me to try and figure out if this thing's going to work. So I got it out yesterday. I went down yesterday and it was nice. It said the winds were only east at 5, but it was still gusting from the north. It'd swing completely around from the north, and it was probably around 10 mile an hour, 90-degree crosswind again to the runway. But I did manage to get out and do two runs down the runway. Since it was coming from the east, I had to taxi all the way to the west end of the airport, and you know, that's like a 3/4 of a mile. So I went down there once and run up through. I was only doing maybe 25 or so at the most, feeling it out, and the tailwheel was responding better, but now it just seemed like it was a little too sensitive. I could move the rudder pedals and it was steering easier, but there's still a slight lag in there because of the springs. But it was better, but it wasn't. It was still, once it was working better, it got a little more sensitive to where you just barely push on a pedal and it would try to start turning on you. You know, it would slide one way or the other. So, but you were still doing a lot of footwork trying to keep the thing straight. So what I got here now is I've changed it back up to basically almost where it was originally. The original thing, I had some a framework built on here, and I had some flats cut onto this, and I had pieces of spring steel on each side of this that kind of held it in a centered position. So what I did now is, this is like the old bushing that was up here that was the horn that stuck out. I had two of these. This is the old one. So I cut off the tang and turned it down, and I needed it down here for the spacer because these holes are kind of drilled into the shaft now for these set screws. So what I got here now, this is the original hole where the cable was with the pin and spring assembly, and it was mounted back here, if you remember, in this opening here where you can see the little ball bearing in there. So what I ended up doing is I drilled a second path in here. I turned this around, drilled a second one, I put the spring and the ball bearing back in there, so I still have basically a 30-degree movement there before it pops loose and goes in. So then I took and added, this is the original hole, but I drilled it out, and what I got in there is a set screw, Allen wrench set screw, and inside there is another spring. These springs are heavier than what was in it before, and I have another ball bearing in there. You kind of hard to see it, but there's grease sticking in there where the ball bearing is. But what I did is I ended up drilling a 1/4 inch hole in there with an end mill to just shy of 1/8 inch, about half the diameter of that 1/4 inch ball. So now I've got a spring in here with a ball that catches into a detent, and see, so now the wheel is locked. It's physically locked. All right, let me set this down and see if I can kind of show you what I got now. So it's locked like this, but it still can catch loose, and I have to pull on it, but you can see I can shake on it, but time will tell. I'll have to test it, but the idea now is it's locked in center right there, but it will still pop loose. So it's kind of working like it did before, but it didn't lock that solid before. It was kind of lazy. So, and then the other thing I did is, when this was mounted in the plane, that shaft is vertical like this. And what they want for a tailwheel dragger is they want it like this. This is an exaggerated mode, but we're talking only 1 to 2 degrees. And that's kind of where I had this. I had it straight up, and then I gave about 2 degrees of positive caster, which means the wheel is forward and the top of this shaft is backwards, so it's like this, but only 1 or 2 degrees. Now what I did is I brought this home and I bent this fork more. So now it's like this. Instead of being straight up, now it's 12 degrees this way, which this is still exaggerated, but you get the idea. And what happens is, see if I can set this back down again. When this is like this, and this wheel turns sideways, see what it does? It raises the tail assembly up and down as it turns sideways. And then because the weight's on the plane, it wants to do that all the time. It wants to kind of self-center. So even though it's only 12 degrees, it can still self-center easier once it's rolling. So that's the goal. But they say when you have negative caster like this, that's negative, that's positive. Negative caster is what they say makes a tire shimmy. But a friend of mine I've been talking to in Alabama has been flying these war replicas for over 30 years. He's flown 5 different models, and he sent me a picture of his tail wheel. And his tail wheel, I measured it, I printed the picture out, and it's 12 degrees. So that's what I shot for, because he said he's never had shimmy on the tail wheels ever. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. Again, I just bent this spring. So now I'm going to take this back to the airport, put it back in the airplane, and see how it works. If this still breaks away a little too easy, then I just need to find a heavier spring. These are only 1/4 inch in diameter. These ones are a little under 1/4. And it's the heaviest one they had without going bigger in diameter. Since I'm only using a 1/4 inch spring ball and that in there, the spring had to be 1/4 inch. So that's where I'm at. Like I said, I did try to make a video. I mounted the camera again on the side of my canopy rail yesterday, and on the second time down the runway I turned it on and I made a recording of me going down the runway just like the last one. It's, you know, just uneventful and just a little zigzaggy a little bit from the crosswind kicking in and out, but it's just too sensitive. And I did manage to get it up to probably 30 or just a little over 30, but I didn't want to push it, so I says no, it's okay. I just wanted to try the camera out. So, and I got done, taxied all the way back to the hangar, unhooked the camera and continued talking for like another 10 minutes. And then when I went to stop the camera, it was already stopped. So when I was taking the camera off the canopy rail, slide rail, somehow I either touched, it's a touch screen on that little Sony camera, and I either touched that or I hit the record button and I shut it off, so I didn't even, so all I had was just that taxiway. I did put a half hour on the plane taxiing. So now I went ahead and I got my headset, I brought it home. And this is what I got. That's my little Sony camcorder, handy cam they call it, lens. But the button for record is right there, that little red button. So now, when I put this on my head, I mean, it's, if you look at it here, it's crooked. But once you expand this out, I got it so it's level. I looked in the mirror and I did a short recording with it. So now, wherever I look, I'm going to go back down tomorrow, put this all back together, take 10 minutes to throw this thing on there. And then I'll take the plane back out and I'll do some more taxiing, and I'll have this camera on and I'll turn it on, and then you can see what I see sitting in that cockpit. So, can't guarantee anything, folks, but that's my goal. It is got some weight to it. You can feel it on there when you're moving your head around up and down, but it records just fine. So, and it'll be mostly in out of the wind. I do have a little piece of styrofoam, or a little foam rubber. I had some double sticky tape on here, so I'll put that back on there, and that helps cut down the wind noise, because these are the microphones. So I may just have to put some fresh tape on there. But that's the goal, folks. Close this lens up. And this is a high-def camera, so it's 1080i, and it's the same as this camera I'm recording with. Now, I don't know if I can splice this recording with this recording. I don't know if the software I have is for this camera, the Nikon. They have different formats, so I'm not sure if I can splice it in, but really the taxi thing I did, it's nothing really to look at. So I'm going to go back tomorrow, put that on, and then I'm going to go out and try and see if I can get you guys better recording, and then you'll be able to see exactly, how much that nose is in the way. I mean, if this thing is the runway, the nose of the airplane's like this. You can't see anything over the nose at all. So you'll be able to catch that with this camera. So I'm going to put this up tonight. This is Monday the 2nd. And I'll run down there tomorrow afternoon and put this back together. All I got to do is slip these 2 bolts in, slip that bolt in, and off we go, folks. I'll get in there and run it around. So meanwhile, the plane run fine, had no problems. When I did shut it off, I just happened to catch a hint of antifreeze. And I thought, well, is it finally springing a leak? Because when I had it over at the flight school, that right wheel well had something dripping out of it. But since I moved it over to my hangar where I'm currently at, nothing's wet. I've never seen anything come out of it. So I don't know what that was. Maybe it was some residual stuff laying in the wing, and moving it around like I did, it just ran out and dripped on the floor. So, but it hasn't leaked anything since. The oil leak so far that it looks like that may be fixed now, but we'll run her some more. But like I said, I did manage to put a half hour on it yesterday. So I'm going to go back tomorrow and we'll give her another go and hopefully get you guys some better video content. And if today was beautiful down there. There was no wind, and there was the flight school I seen was out moving around, but other than that, the airport was all mine. And I'm hoping to see the same thing tomorrow. And it had the windsock was just kind of wiggling around, not a breath of air seemed. So, all right, folks, I'm going to cut this off now and get you guys back to get this thing up tonight. Oh, I wanted to show you. I had this stuff out, cutting some aluminum, but I've been working on the shed, so now you can see I got all the trim on it. So the shed's finished, and it's all sealed up good for the winter. That's what I was working on over a couple weekends since I couldn't work on to go down and play with the plane because of the too windy out. All right, folks, as always, feel free to leave any comments, questions, or concerns. I appreciate them and appreciate you guys taking your time to watch all these videos. And hopefully this will be a plus and that'll work good. Like I said, I can increase the spring tension if I can find a spring to put in there. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. And again, thanks for watching these videos and sticking up with me. And I'll tell you, folks, I'm trying to get this damn thing, up in the air, but I just don't feel comfortable with it. And once I had the same problem with my gyrocopter, man. The steering on that is even shorter coupled than this Corsair, and that nose wheel, when that thing turns, it just turns a few degrees. And so hopefully this has enough tension to hold it straight, track straight, and then you can tap the brakes, and then hopefully it'll stay put, and I won't be doing any fishtailing going down taxi runways. All right, folks, again, thanks for watching these, and stay tuned. I will get one put up tomorrow night if everything goes well. So, and it's supposed to be great until like Wednesday, Thursday. It was like mid-70s today, and they're calling for highs of 80s here by Wednesday, Thursday. So, and sunny skies, and today it was perfect. So, all right, I will get this thing posted, and after this one, I should have another one for you guys tomorrow night. All right, take care, everyone. This is Dino Don out.